Greetings, everyone. So, today I wanted to go a little off topic and talk about when people try to discredit you or someone else. And yes, it could be related to narcissism, but that is not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the methods, the ones that I think of, like first and foremost, of how to discredit another person. So I got these little images, throughout the internet. To discredit someone or something means to damage their reputation. And obviously, we've seen this in mass media over and over and over and over and over. And also, blackmail is the highest form of ruining a person's reputation. I mean, it's used, I should say. I just wanted to bring this up because it is one of the biggest methods used to mostly set men up. And it's like in so many different scenarios. It could be setting up a very prestigious, famous politician or a celebrity, or perhaps a CEO in which another company is trying to take it over or something like that. I mean, excuse me. It could even happen to like a young football star. I mean, it could happen to really anybody. And not to get into like agencies like the CIA or some of the espionage agencies throughout the world, no matter what country, they have like booklets and specific ways to do it. So a honeypot trap can refer to a decoy system in cybersecurity or an espionage tactic involving seduction. In cybersecurity, a honeypot is a fake system desired to lure and study attackers. That's interesting. Protecting real assets by distracting malicious actors. In espionage, a honey trap uses a romantic or sexual relationship to compromise a target and extract information. Kathy O'Brien talked about that in her book, Transformation of America. And discrediting goes along with emotional invalidation. This is, I think, from Psychology Today. I didn't read the whole article. I just wanted to take this because I felt like this is very much relating. It's all related. Emotional invalidation can be hurtful, but learning to recognize it might help prevent its effects. And then validation is the acceptance of a person's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And also, too, I want to bring up what I think about with validation. Of course, I don't have it all worked out. I just like to learn and research but anytime, I've seen this many, many times in the ex-Scientology community, but not just the ex-Scientology community, is that someone's thoughts or someone's belief system is like, how do I say it? Like my way or the highway. Like there's no room for other opinions. There's no room for other behaviors. There's no room for any other kind of discussion. And again, it's not just ex-Scientologists. I'm not shading them. And obviously not all of them. I've seen this once or twice. Actually, I was having interactions myself in my own personal life with a person who had no room for any other kind of thoughts or expressions, different belief systems, nothing. And now in retrospect, when I look back, the interactions that I had with that person, I was actually avoiding talking about certain subjects because I knew, the earth would go to fire if I brought up certain topics, which, by the way, is walking on eggshells. So, this kind of thing is everywhere. I personally don't do that. I might not agree with the way someone believes or their way of thinking or whatever it is, but I'm not going to blast them for it. It's called freedom of thought. I mean, for me, the way I look at things, there's going to be what I would call like, excuse me, my values or beliefs in which if somebody crosses a line, let's say they hurt a child or they hurt an elderly adult or something like that, then all bets are off. But that's not really talking about somebody's belief system. It's more talking about somebody's behavior. So, honestly, what I'm trying to focus on with this video is discrediting people. And I can even look back in my life, very different, many different times, people that should have cared about me and looked out for me were always trying to discredit me. I remember one guy in the army, just a long time ago, would always call me Dizzy Red, Dizzy Red, Dizzy Red. I mean, it was kind of a joke, but it really, when I look back, it wasn't funny. At the time, I didn't know what he was doing. Or other people would always say, "You're so dingy, you're so dingy." I was not dingy. It's a nasty thing to say to somebody. But they were attacking what they saw in me, like my intelligence. And I'm not trying to say I know everything. But that's the thing, people that are insecure with themselves, or it might not be that a person's insecure with themselves, but they absolutely cannot allow for any other kind of way of thinking or being or any other type of beliefs. And they will fight tooth and nail to the death for their illusory belief systems. That's why we have all these wars. I mean, that's not just, I'm just using that as an example. I always say do not engage. Okay, this is the bogus little Oxford language dictionary definition. Discredit, the verb, harm the good reputation of someone or something. His remarks were taken out of context in an effort to discredit him. We've all been through this before, all of us. Noun, loss or lack of reputation or respect. His actions were such that they brought discredit on his profession. And then to the max, we see the smear campaign or the, negative public relations like in Hollywood or, I don't know, with politicians or, excuse me. Or let's say really uber wealthy entrepreneurs or CEOs. I'm actually going to get this book. It was such a pain in the neck for me to start this book because it's located, I believe, in the Amazon UK. So I had to re-sign in. It didn't want to accept my password. It was a big mess. But I'm going to get this on Kindle for 99 cents. I think that should be interesting. By Richard Lighthouse. And then, because I don't want to delve deep into the narcissism because that's not what this video is about. But it was really easy to find because I was doing a basic search for how people discredit someone talking about their mental health, and I got all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I mean, you can just go watch various narcissism coaches or therapists talking about how one, and I've seen it in my own life, that's my personal experience. One of the biggest and best and fastest ways to discredit a person is to tell other people that they're crazy. And most of the time, the people that are accusing the other person of being crazy or having a severe mental health issue have no credentials in that whatsoever. How many times have we seen young girls that were essayed by their stepfather or their father put into like a psychiatric unit to hide all of it? Not just girls, boys as well. So anyways, this guy, Joy Uzetta, if you guys need the link, I can give it to you. Experience in narc relationships. So the question was, how did the narcissist discredit you? And there was this big, long little story. I didn't want to read the whole thing. So Joy Uzetta says, tell them you're crazy. That's the first one. We see it throughout the news. We see it through Hollywood, workplaces everywhere. Not to say sometimes, I'm not saying like every single time this so-called rumor starts, there might be some truth to it. But the easiest way to discredit someone who's telling the truth or revealing who a person is or revealing like so-called secrets throughout the world, like maybe we might call them a conspiracy theory or something. That's what they do, is try to make other people think that person's crazy. Have you guys ever seen pictures of conspiracy theorists or even skits made on various television shows where they show the conspiracy theorists with a little tinfoil cap? That is because the people that are in, there's various people in charge. There's agencies, there's governmental agencies, there's super elite people, there's all. It's important for them to control the information and control the narratives. So they don't want certain information getting out. So they disperse different little stories, or it could be a news story, it could be a funny television show in which conspiracy theorists are depicted as completely bonkers, batshit crazy. And it's worked. It has worked. Now every other sentence is the conspiracy theorist. Most of the time, people don't even understand what they're talking about. What do they mean by a conspiracy theorist? A person who thinks? A person who does a lot of research? A person that has other opinions than what they have? That's what people use it quite often now. But anyways, conspiracy theorist is kind of related to tell them you're crazy. It's synonymous now, unfortunately. And I've got an article I'm going to read about that. And then somebody might say it's a vague statement, but... And then just for fun, this is from Wikipedia. MK Ultra redirects here, okay. Not to be confused with Edgewood Arsenal Human Experiments. Just the basic term. MK Ultra was an illegal human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, Charlie Igloo Alpha, to develop procedures and identify drugs, that could be used during interrogations. To weaken individuals and force confessions. Through brainwashing and psychological torture. I can't wait until I get my computer There's a bunch of things I'm going to get into. And this is no shade to Lindsay Lohan. I just wanted to show. I don't want to get too deep into it because then people say, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You know, what is that old saying back in the old days? Let your fingers do the walking. You know, that was for the yellow pages. All people have to do is just do a little research. Because there's a lot of information out stating that celebrities are not controlled, their minds are not controlled, and there's no MK Ultra and all these things. But isn't it interesting how all these superstars are so-called having mental breakdowns? That's all I'm saying. I'm not here to prove anything to anybody. All you have to do is do your own research. And then this, I remember reading somewhere where, and we have to remember Britney Spears was like at the top of her game then, and we know that she wasn't treated well. We all know that. But I read somewhere that the reason she cut her hair off was because she didn't want to get drug tested. But I'm not here to verify or validate that because I don't know that for sure. You know, anyone who has looked into what went on with Britney, it's pretty awful. They never did that to Madonna, though. And then Justin Bieber. And I mean, there's numerous stories. And they all seem to go to the same hospitals. Weird. When a narcissist says everyone thinks you're crazy, what they mean is, I've been telling everyone you're crazy. Facts. That's to destabilize your mind. And if you're around like a toxic person long enough, you will start to believe it. Honestly, I think it's really interesting if you study mind control a little bit, or MK Ultra, or whatever you want to call it. It's all about implanting thoughts into people. Sometimes when you put the mirror up to folks, they don't like it too much. No one trashes your name better than the person who is terrified that you are going to tell people the truth. And this is from, it's called Narcissist Coach. But that could be true in so many places. So I'm not going to go on and on about it. But I do plan on, in the very near future, getting into more of mind control programs. And you guys, I'm a novice. I am. Where do you guys think that I started to realize all what was going on with mind control and how it was being done? I was in the military. I was a military police person. I didn't see too much. I did have a top secret clearance. I don't know if I could ever find that paperwork because I've moved about like 13 times. And they didn't use, my first sergeant in that, they didn't use me for very much, fancy stuff, just to deliver documents and stuff. It's because I was like, clean-faced little 17-year-old country kid that, didn't have much of a past. So, but I did know people that were in military intelligence. They didn't tell me anything. But they were under like a lot of pressure. And golly, what was I going to say? I'm not going to get too deep into it for the fact that then all my videos would be taken down. And I mean, there's a lot more information out than it used to be. It used to be certain videos that I would put out. And it wasn't so much, it was mind control, but it was a lot of the SRA and the satanic abuse and such like that. Those videos where I did a lot of visual things. Those would be taken down almost immediately. But there's a lot more that's kind of allowed now. But I am going to get into a few things. And I do want to show the connections of the intelligence units that L. Ron Hubbard were in, as well as Anton LaVey and Aquino, and psychological operations units, etc. I'm going to get a little into it. I'm not going deep. Some of these big, huge influencer channels would do a better job. I could do a really good job if I wanted to, but I want my energy to be focused more on Scientology. So, anyways, you guys, have an amazing day. I'm starting to feel a little better, and I hope that you have a good one. Peace.